My name is William Moore. I'm a criminal defense attorney in South Florida. This is Robert. We've been friends since the 3rd grade. Over the last 20 years that I have been practicing, I've shared with Robert the experiences that I have had defending individuals accused of committing some pretty serious crimes. Recently, however, Robert told me this.
You are not doing society any favors.
Recognizing a cry for help when I hear one, I knew that it was up to me to give Robert the tools that he needed to stay out of trouble, and I've invited society to listen in. You're listening to Society Favors.
Rob learns about statutory rape and drug trafficking.
Robert.
Hey.
Hey.
Here we are again.
Been surfing recently?
I have. Up in St. Augustine.
Yeah. All right.
I'm still kind of achy. I'm still kind of achy from.
Was it powerful? Was it big? Big surf?
I mean, it was fairly big yesterday. That storm, Hermine or whatever its name was at least where we were, wasn't really that big of a deal. It didn't really bring us too much bad.
Flagler College is up there.
Yep, right around Flagler.
A lot of surfer girls.
But it started to produce a swell.
Rob, I'll cut to the chase.
Okay. Fair.
You're up there. You're this. They're in these bands. You live in the art lofts. And what is your level of concern when you meet a girl that you're interested in having an intimate relationship with? What is your level of concern as to her age? Because I'm not sure you fully understand what statutory rape is.
Well, I suppose I will have a better understanding after being on your show. But it's the legal age at which an adult can
consent
right.
to sex.
Consent.
You know what it means. You may have. It looked like you were looking up and to the left. You were probably thinking to myself.
I kind of had a hard time spitting that out because I guess it's kind of a sensitive issue.
Okay, so here's what I wanted to do, just to be sure, because you're over 24 years old.
I definitely am.
Right. And that's why I knew I'd never forgive myself if I didn't go over this with you. Let's pull up Robert. Do you know why I have that picture ready to blast on the broadcast? Do you know why?
I did see the same circular size cookie cutter.
You mean on the intro?
Yes. Now,
if
you're thinking of putting my face
never.
On that,
no
okay.
way. That would be weird.
So then I don't know what it's for. So if you would enlighten me.
Well, I've got some fears.
Can you elaborate on these fears?
I'm glad that we chose this topic. Whew. This was close.
All right, I mean, we're kind of going all over the place now. So
no, we're not, because that girl's underage.
Is she?
Yep.
And you never would have guessed.
Right, and that's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
I see exactly what that picture's about.
That's the problem, okay?
Okay, so now back to the scenario where...
Oh, I had another one queued up.
Yeah, she's hot.
Robert.
I have no idea. What? What did I say?
Robert.
It's not... Oh, right. Okay. Okay.
I get it, though.
For anybody who's...
I get it.
Wait, can the viewers or listeners, are they going to be able to see these pictures also?
No, absolutely.
Those are not recording?
No.
Oh, they will?
They certainly will. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
How old were they?
Which ones?
I'm just kidding.
No, anyway, so back to the pharmaceutical business.
Really?
It's not that much fun, but for those who are interested in another perspective.
Hold on. All right. So, here, you know what? Let's just wrap up this sex crime section because I need to put you through some questions.
Uh-oh. What kind of questions? Are they going to be incriminating? Beautiful girl.
Go
I
on.
mean,
Go on.
am I supposed to guess her age? I mean,
Yeah. Go ahead.
16?
I don't know her age, but she's underage.
I'm sure she is.
Right now, you know. That's why I have to resort.
I'm curious. Why are we talking about like underage women with me? I mean,
Let's go back to your first girlfriend. Okay, so first time you saw this photograph, I became even more concerned because clearly that's an underage girl. No, all kidding aside, it's tough to tell, right? I mean, 17-year-olds.
In that picture, well, your face is gone. That's that.
To protect the innocent.
Sure.
To protect the innocent. Her face is gone.
I mean,
All right, I'll add some faces.
that one would be hard to tell. I mean, I would guess maybe she's about 18, something like that.
Okay, you'd be wrong. So, in this type of a situation, when, let's call her Isabel, introduces herself to you, and you think it's going to go somewhere, what are you going to do? You're going to ask for her ID?
Eventually. I mean,
Eventually.
I like, honestly, I would probably try to get to know her for a little while. And then,
You're romantic. No, my point is that even asking for an ID, being shown ID, people telling you that
Okay,
she's of age.
if I was the average guy, I would ask her how old she was, and she would say whatever, and I would be fine with that. But I'm not the average guy. So.
Well, WWRD, what would Rob do?
Personally, I mean, a lot of people are going to say, oh, he's just, saying what he thinks he should say. But
I don't think people are going to think that.
I mean, I would get...
I think they're going to want... I think everybody's going to want to make sure...
Okay, what I would suggest in this case to guys who are, older than,
Older than, like 24 or older.
24, exactly, right? If you're 24 or older, what I would suggest is get to know her for a while. Don't try to hook it up, like same night kind of thing, because you could be getting yourself in serious trouble. I would suggest getting to know the person for a little while, and you'll be able to feel out how mature they are. That might help you gauge as to what the actual age is. And then at some point, if you really suspect that maybe she seems really immature, or maybe she's actually underage, that at some point you definitely want to see her ID. But that's what you're here to talk about, to shed a little more light about that.
No, this is okay. So, right, this is a strategy for our listeners out there. If she's young, get to know her, spend some time with her, gauge her maturity level.
I mean, do you think that sounds pretty good? Right?
I do.
Thank you.
I do.
I was waiting for you to just jump all over me on that one.
Well, the problem is that I need to make sure that these younger girls aren't throwing themselves at you and going to get you in trouble. I've known you for a long time. I know the whole family. And getting to know, asking for ID, let me ID you. These wouldn't be defenses. So the bottom line is if she's under the threshold age, which is
18.
If she's 16 or 17, you're going to be in huge trouble, and you're not even going to be able to assert any defenses, whether she showed you an ID or not. Now, there's always an easy avenue.
Yeah, but how are you going to pose that question?
To the parents?
Yeah. But by the way,
how are you going to get somebody?
By the way, I know I'm a little older than your daughter, but
and what I wanted to do is take my time with this so I could gauge out her maturity level, and then ask her for ID. But I'm going straight to you. Okay. Hey, Rob, let's take our.
She's my type. It's just too bad she's just too young for me.
Because I've got her picture up here that she's too young, right? That's it. Yep. You're catching on to this.
Pretty much. I figured out the whole agenda here.
You meet her. She says, "Let's hang out again." So you do, and she says, "I want to take you to dinner at my parents' house." This is a hypothetical. I'm going to ask you some questions. Okay. So she invites you to go have dinner at her parents' house. You meet her parents. They're happy you're dating. Okay. And you agree to see each other again. And you meet up with her. She's driving. She gets pulled over for speeding. She takes out her driver's license. You see it. It says she's 24 years old. Shows it to the police officer. He runs it, gives her a ticket. You drive off. You drive to her office. She wants to show you her business, where she works. She's a physicist. You meet her secretary, the people she employs. You go into her office. Her degrees are on the wall. The appearance she did for History's the Universe. And on the ceiling, you notice that there's those glow-in-the-dark stars. And when the sun goes down, you and her make love on her desk under the glowing stars.
I was waiting for you to get to the good part.
Right. No, here's the
She's
good
24,
part.
though. She's 24, so
Right.
it's all good.
And her parents are
I
happy you're
guess.
dating.
Although
Well, they were, because what happens is the door gets kicked open and Dad walks in, who you met at that great dinner, and he calls the police because she's really underage. All right. So now you've been charged with statutory rape, which in Florida it has been changed. They call it sexual battery now, because there's this element of consent, right? She consented, but
Yikes.
she's not old enough to consent. Yikes. Yikes big time. So what defenses are you going to assert?
I mean, I'm not a lawyer.
Well,
I'd
I
go
mean,
hire a lawyer and be like, hey,
Right, I'm trying to
defend
trick
me.
you. But what are you going to tell your lawyer? What makes it, I mean, should you be charged? You met her parents. You saw her driver's license. I mean, did you know she was underage?
In this case, were the parents consenting on her behalf?
Would that make a
Is there-
difference?
I think it does, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Right.
And I'm sure that's just so popular of an option. You know what? I don't want to get in trouble, so let me go ask her parents if I can have sex with her.
Yeah, I know. That's not exactly a likely scenario.
Right? Talk about being the poster child for being. Here's another example of, I mean, parents, even if they thought it was a cool idea, I don't think they want to be held out as what a weird
parents
position
that, like,
for
hey,
parents
go
to be
right
in.
ahead.
Hey, look, just so you know, I listen to this radio show, and it's all about educating the public. And so now everybody's learning all the laws. People aren't getting caught with trafficking amounts of pills now. And in case you don't watch it, no, we watch it. We were going to ask you, because if we get your consent, everything's okay. Thanks, society favors. Right? I doubt that happens very often. But did you ask for consent at the dinner with the turkey out and the cranberry sauce and did you ask for consent at the table?
Sure.
Why is Dad here if
can
you
you
gave
pass
consent?
the,
Did you get it in writing? Okay, so
Pass the green beans, by the way. Can I?
how would you word that?
How would you feel if I? No, I don't see that happening.
With a
No,
turkey
say
leg in
that.
your mouth.
I know. Right.
Hey. All right, so
Stuff
but
with
what
turkey
about
with-
this? You have a police officer that was there. You didn't get consent. It would have been so easy. You got pulled over with her. She showed her ID to a police officer. He ran it. You can call him as a witness because you saw her ID.
Her
Right.
fake ID.
Fake ID, but did you know
But
it was fake?
a-
You know it was fake at the time.
It was a damn good fake ID.
You know it was fake at the time, Robert.
No.
No. So did you believe that this girl was old enough to have sex with on her desk under the glow-in-the-dark stars?
Well, okay. Just
Did you? I want to know. I've known you since the third grade.
we need to repeat the disclaimer, which this is just a mock scenario that this didn't.
There's no way
actually-
this is going live. I'm telling you. I just want to know. This is a hypothetical, of course. All right.
Exactly.
But I would think. I mean, look. Even though you can't use it as a defense, believe it or not, even if you saw an ID, if the parents held her out as that she was 24, that she had these degrees up, that she had employees, everybody in the world thought that she was 24 years old or older, right? It's called strict liability. It doesn't matter because you can't assert any of those defenses if you take this case to trial.
That's crazy. Now, why is that?
Isn't that crazy?
Why is that?
It's no defense.
It
It's
doesn't make
strict
sense.
liability.
So
you're presumed to know because it doesn't matter if you knew under the law. What matters is you can't give her the right to consent by believing that she's older. She's too young to consent to sex.
So, I mean, I personally, I never would have guessed that she's, I don't know.
And we're going to talk about it in a minute. Some of your idols have been charged with sex crimes. Like Motley Crew. You like Motley Crew. You think they're cool. That's why I introduced you to my friend Vince. Remember this?
Yeah, I do.
It was fun day. He had a lot of young girls on his yacht.
Yeah.
I should have seen the warning signs then. But I didn't. But I'm talking to you now. Vince has not been charged with any sex crimes, but Tommy has.
Vince got himself in big trouble. What, back in when was it, like?
Yeah, he was involved in some type of
he was
DUI
driving.
manslaughter.
Yeah, he was driving drunk.
Oh, we're going to talk about Vince. For those of you that don't know, Vince is the lead singer, or was the lead singer of Motley Crue. It's amazing.
And do you know when it was when that happened?
Yeah, I can't talk about it.
No? Okay.
They'll kill us. All right, but I will talk about, even though I will talk about Tommy Lee. Guess what?
What?
Quiz. Was Tommy Lee ever charged with a sex crime?
I don't know.
He was charged. You know what? The rockers have always been charged with indecent exposure. He was charged with indecent, yes. Quite a while ago. Around the time that this picture was taken. I believe it was 19...
He got in trouble with a minor, didn't he?
No, indecent... No, that's so funny. It wasn't clear. He did it on stage. There's no way that Tommy Lee has ever had sex with anybody under 18 years old.
Way.
No way.
Not 1,000 times.
Right. And
I mean,
that day we were hanging out with Vince, there wasn't... All the girls on that boat were over 18, actually. I'm sure of it.
Of course.
I don't know. You got to know him better than I did.
I didn't see anything.
All right. So, you know who else, unfortunately, was?
Oh, really?
Anthony Kiedis. Yep. Now, he was
$1,000 fine
accused.
for each charge, sentenced 60 days in jail. Sexual battery overturned.
Right?
Yeah, well, this guy's, yeah. Rock stars are like...
That makes me mad.
They're like their own kind of freaks and not so sure how applicable like their lifestyles are, you know, to kind of like ordinary, what ordinary people might want to learn about, you know, various aspects of law and, you know.
See, but this is it. Oh, do you want to know what? John Frusciante, Red Hot just came out with a new album. I've listened to like 10 seconds of it. It's as bad as I thought it would be because John Frusciante's not on it. You know, the guitarist, he was on, he's amazing.
We all know you love John Frusciante.
Oh my gosh, he's amazing.
I think you expressed at some point that his father has been entirely dissatisfied with
Jesus
his career.
Christ. No, I never said anything like that.
You didn't?
Radio edit.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that was
Rob, you're awesome. No, but here's the thing.
I'm not saying that was your personal
and I'm just
opinion.
kidding. This isn't going to be edited.
I thought it was kind of like a well-known thing that
right.
His dad didn't really like the fact that naturally, you know, you have that same scenario played out between so many, you know, parents with their children, you know, that their parents may have had this quote unquote established career, you know, maybe as like a doctor or whatever, and their son wanted to kind of go out, like, you know,
join the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Join the Red, start a band and get big and famous.
This is when John Frusciante spent all day in his room growing up, all day in his room in high school. Went to Juilliard,
working on his craft.
Right.
And it paid off, and his father still can't accept.
No, well, it's the heroin thing that his father's disappointed in.
Okay.
There have been, and it is widely known, and John Frusciante admits to it, that there has been a heroin thing going on. He's fine now. He's absolutely sober. I mean, when he beat it, he recorded 6 solo albums and joined the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He's not in the Red Hot Chili Peppers now. He left. when in the past the Red Hot Chili Peppers have let him go. But the John Frusciante's dad, I'm sure, just like a lot of the fans and whatnot. I mean, on the one hand, you've got people that think, okay, rock star, drugs, but the heroin thing certainly raised some concerns with his father.
Oh, to say the least.
Sure, yeah. So that's
I didn't realize it was about the drugs. I thought it was kind of entirely about like his overall.
What
direction.
a dichotomy, right? What a tough thing to deal with as a parent, because you've got somebody who's in one of the most successful rock bands in the world ever, right? Because they are,
and rich, as rich as he'll ever need to be,
Right. I guess that doesn't.
I mean,
when you're worried about your kids, you don't worry how rich they are when they're doing heroin. I'm just glad he's still with us, because he writes the most.
I take it he doesn't have any kids. I don't know if he does.
Yeah, I don't know. As much as I follow him like a hippie follows the dead, but I'm a big fan of his. To finish what I was saying, so he's just this recluse. He's practicing all the time. The Red Hot Chili Peppers had already lost a guitarist to heroin, right? Which kind of makes you wonder, okay, so how did John Frusciante as a kid, get into heroin? It sounds like, there was a lot of heroin problems with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but I don't know. I'm a big fan of theirs. I'm not
I
judging.
think it's with
rock in
musicians.
general.
Musicians. I mean,
Do you see that a lot in your industry?
I haven't witnessed it.
What about when you were in California and March on Electric and Ahimsa and all those playing?
I never witnessed it with people that I had worked with, but I had witnessed it with friends. There was a guy that I ended up hanging out with who, at some point, I found out that he was like a closet heroin addict, and I didn't figure it out until some stuff of mine went missing, and I confronted him on it, and he opened up to me and told me about his that's Green Day, huh?
What did he tell you, Rob? Yeah, that's Billie Joel Armstrong. He's also charged with a sex crime.
I should share this.
Yeah.
But this guy...
Do a public service announcement.
I met him at a job I was working, and it was a sales job, and he was a top producer. He was one of the guys in the room that... everyone knew that he was one of the top closers. So I thought, this guy's pretty solid. And eventually, when I found out that he was a heroin addict, he felt really bad because he liked me. We were
was
friends.
he shooting?
Yeah, he was. He was shooting.
Because you can shoot it, snort it.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't pills. It was.
No, it was the real deal.
Real deal.
Yeah. So this guy opened up to me, and he said that at some point his family, had gotten on him and put a lot of pressure on him to kick the habit, and he did. He kicked it, and he said he was off it for about a year. And for anybody who knows the Southern California lifestyle, especially people that live like on the beaches and whatnot, it's like I was there for 17 years, and it was like the whole time I was there, it was like a dream. I was surfing all these great places, and going down to Mexico with all these cool guys, and I was playing in bands and everything. It was great, and kind of like the whole Sublime lifestyle. It's that, like being on the boardwalk, and it's 70 degrees and sunny, like 10, 11 months out of the year. It's like a paradise. But anyways,
it was a paradise where you lived. I love San Diego.
San Diego's
so amazing.
Best. I love it. Miss it a lot. SD. But anyway, so this guy.
I miss you living there. I want to come out with this, but I do like having you here. Right. You got your own show now.
So anyways, so this guy, he managed to kick the habit for a year, and he was telling me all about it. He said that he could be on the boardwalk, and he was a surfer too. He said he could be on the boardwalk hanging out with guys, some of his bros, like the guys from Super Unloader. For those who have ever heard of Super Unloader, they're a badass band, big following and everything. He said he could be hanging out on the boardwalk when with his bros and hot chicks all around, with a perfect, just barreling head high swell out there. And he said not one single day went by that he didn't think about shooting up again. That's how even after he had been off it for a year, he said there wasn't one single day. Yep, there it is. There wasn't one single day that went by that he couldn't stop thinking that he could stop thinking about shooting up again.
Yeah,
so and it's like that for people who have never like gotten hooked on anything, like that should put it into perspective, like how much what a danger this stuff is to society,
Right. No, there's no doubt. That's why we had the big Oxycontin explosion.
I know another musician who got hooked on that, and surprisingly, this was a whole different situation. He went to the hospital, and I think he broke his leg. A really bad.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you mean how he got on it?
Yeah. It was some accident that sent him to the hospital. He had a bad, I think it was a femur. I think the femur, which is like a big bone.
It is a big bone.
Yeah, I think he broke his femur.
Got prescribed Oxycontin.
And he kept taking it, and he's still to this day.
Still to this day, chewing them up.
It's
80s.
Very difficult for him not to do it.
Check this out, and this is what happens: somebody gets injured, and they get prescribed that drug.
Put that picture of San Diego back, bro. I was looking at that. I was like, oh my God.
Remain here with us. I'll put it back up in a minute.
Okay.
I think that's where when I came to visit you and and the guys from Mahim's, Josh wouldn't go because he doesn't eat sugar. But anyway, okay, somebody breaks their femur, they get prescribed Oxycontin. The thing about this drug is that the way that it hits you, the time lapse, is completely thrown out of whack, especially if you break the pills in half, because you get this immediacy and this strong heroin high. People go in for an injury, they get prescribed this stuff, they come out addicted. And pretty soon the bottle of pills that they get legally from the doctor for their injury isn't enough, because instead of taking one a day, they're taking 1.5 a day. And you're not supposed to break these pills under any circumstances because it's got a coating on the outside.
Right.
It's like a plastic-looking coating. You break in half, and your chances of getting addicted are so much better. So then pretty soon you're taking 2 a day, 3 a day. Pretty soon it gets to the part people are eating handfuls of these pills a day. I'm not kidding, because they build up a tolerance. And they're chewing on them. Forget the coating, they're chewing them. And despite the nasty taste and whatnot that's associated with it. So they run out of pills rather quickly. So they have to buy them. The weight of the pill is what is considered when you're taking drug charges into account. It's the aggregate weight of the pill. So it doesn't matter if it's the Oxycontin pills come in 20s, 40s, 60s, 80s. And if you've got about 114 Oxycontin, because they're all about the same size and weight, they are. That weight puts you into a trafficking category. Not just a trafficking category, but the 25-year minimum mandatory category. Okay? And we did have the human element show its face years ago from Judge Ileana Holmes here in Broward County, Florida. And she sentenced somebody for a drug charged first offense below the minimum mandatory. She was appealed, and that sentence was overturned, and the guy went to prison for 25 years for a bottle of pills, which wouldn't even...
25 years? Now, how likely was he to
day
serve?
For day. You don't get good... Day for day, you don't get any good time or gain time. Still in. There's no hope for you once you go in on a 25-year minimum mandatory.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's some of our laws. And here's an example of where a judge wanted to exercise discretion because the human element was there and the risk from a political standpoint was relatively low, because what if someone reoffends? Well, he's using Oxycontin again. Okay, it's not like we have a repeat offender who's drinking and driving and is hitting people and hurting them and has in the past, or a sexual predator or a sexual offender. Remember, there's a difference. So here we've got the legislature that makes laws that restrict the judges on doing the right thing and exercising that human element.
Wow, that's tough. It's great that you're doing this because, for those who are concerned about the laws and say, for instance, like what's likely in the case that they find themselves in a similar situation. Doing
what though? I gotta ask.
Any of the above, but what I was getting at is I feel like in this case.
Thank you.
In this case, in the case that you were talking about that you just mentioned, where the guy is doing 25 years. I mean, I would guess that this is probably a younger guy who really did not know the laws. I mean, how often?
No, people don't know the laws.
How often do these kids like get involved in the wrong crowds, and they don't really think much of what they're doing? This guy may have thought, hey, it's just a bottle of pills.
How many people? People don't listen to law shows. They don't read about the law until they're in trouble.
So
only other lawyers do.
It's such a sad set of circumstances because I feel like that not defending not so much defending these people's decisions, but I mean I just feel like that people should be, especially our youth, should be more educated on all everything relative to these drugs, their sentences, and how they may play out if they get in trouble doing them, but more so the health implications. I mean, Oxycontin kills people.
Now, out of all of the drugs, all of the scheduled drugs, the controlled substances, almost all of which are felonies to possess. Marijuana is a misdemeanor, and it's being legalized across the nation just slowly. We're even considering medical marijuana here in Florida, but you take cocaine, you take Adderall, you take ecstasy, take prescription drugs like, Xanax is a dangerous one. And I'll tell you, the hype about how dangerous cocaine was in the 80s, which was totally
nothing compared to Oxycontin.
Well, it was nothing, but the attention that the media gave it and the hype was almost like reefer madness. It was really inflated. Okay, you had some basketball player that dropped dead from the first time he used cocaine, and this message was sent out that you can use cocaine once and drop dead. But we really never saw that. Okay, so people don't buy the hype because they know it wasn't true. They're conditioned for it. But the Oxycontin kills people absolutely dead. Absolutely dead. Now, I've never had a client go serve a 25-year minimum mandatory, sentenced to a 25-year minimum mandatory. But I can tell you this. I have had clients drop dead because they overdosed on Oxycontin.
Now, how can do you know how Oxycontin can kill you? Doesn't it like suppress your respiratory system?
It's the same type, yes, the same type of thing as like heroin.
You basically you pass out and you're unable to breathe. Is that right?
Yeah, you basically forget to breathe is what is commonly said. And the reason that people drop dead from it is that the drug has this ability where other drugs, like I keep using the example of cocaine, and sure, it speeds up your heart, but there's almost a cutoff. Okay, your heart's not going to keep. The more you take, isn't going to guarantee a heart attack. All right, Oxycontin, you take too much, shoot too much heroin, you are going to die. That's just going to be it. Your eyes are going to roll back in your head. You're going to stop breathing.
So back to what. Where I was going.
One more thing that I will tell you this is, it's the tolerances that you build up as a user that can get you into trouble as well. Because let's say a user quits, they want to get sober,
they need that
and
much
then they
more
have
to get that high.
Well, they quit, and they have a successful run. They get clean. It's a few months later, and they relapse. They get their hands on some Oxycontin, some heroin.
And their tolerance isn't what it used to be.
And that means that it takes a fraction of the amount to consume, however they're choosing to consume it. Oxycontin can be ground up and snorted with the coating taken off with a wash rag and some water, or heroin shot. But you cannot consume nearly as much, and you love the way that you feel because you've missed it, and you're getting a high like you don't even remember when you were doing it just to kind of get by during the day. Bam, you can't stop taking it. You forget how much you have taken. Next thing you know, you wake up dead, right?
Yeah, so back to like educating, especially the youth on this. Like it's such a tragedy because not only does the youth, not only are they basically not educated on how dangerous this drug is, but they're also not educated on how severe and essentially black and white the punishment is if they find themselves on the wrong side of the law, in court.
Right.
It's tragic on both sides of the coin because you have kids dying from it, and then you have dealers who are being put away for 25 years because there's just no way for our kids to be effectively educated on this unless
you just said dealers, and I want to stop you there because here's another example of how the public has no idea about what's going on with the drug laws. First of all, you've got parents losing their kids because they die using this stuff. And then you've got parents that lose their kids because they had a bottle of pills that weighed enough to meet the threshold to qualify for trafficking.
So you're talking about kids who were not even dealers. They just
the people
they just
that
found
are
themselves
charged with this are not dealers. They're users.
That's
the people that
horrible.
are charged with possessing the pills are not dealers. They're users. Now, they very well may be dealers. But guess what? They're dealers that are peddling pills to support their habit, right? They're exchanging pills among users. I talked about this issue a few years ago in Palm Beach, and the case study was of a police officer, decorated police officer, family man. He hurt his back on the job, got prescribed Oxycontin, broke one in half because he was feeling pain. He got addicted, and then the next thing you know, he's there with the rest of the users. All right? So these aren't drug dealers. We think of drug dealers, when we think of trafficking, we think of the 80s and Miami Vice and people driving kilos of cocaine over and they're scared.
And that makes it all the more tragic,
Yeah, no, it is tragic. But there is, I guess there's not the fun people that want to dump money into public service announcements or educating the public with regard to the issue of, hey, don't possess a bottle of pills. Remember, you don't have to get caught buying it. You don't have to get caught selling it. You just have to get pulled over and have that bottle of pills and don't have the prescription. And you're very easily looking at a minimum mandatory.
So is Oxycontin one of the more severely penalized drugs to be caught with?
No, there's other. I
mean, I'm sure there's a few, but that's probably Oxycontin's probably up there as one of the most.
That's been the hot button in Florida anyway, because we allowed all of the pill mills. We allowed all of these clinics to pop up and dispense these pills at the same time. People were driving to our state from all over the nation to doctor shop. Doctor shopping is going to see multiple doctors and telling them the same story.
Yeah, so the pharmaceutical companies are very happy to be making a lot of money off this drug.
Yeah, and
our kids get addicted to it, just by getting injured and having to go to the hospital. And then because there's
the conspiracy theorist view.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
The pharmaceutical industries are.
Robert's afraid of the pharmaceutical industry's intentions.
I think
in a few years you'll be happy about Pfizer for making Viagra.
Me, I'll never do that. No, but I think I'm not one of those conspiracy theory people who are like, entirely left wing, like, oh, the government needs to be overthrown. I really believe it's all about.
Do conspiracy theorists want the government overthrown? I don't know.
I mean, those types, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I think it's about
coming, Robert.
I think it's about reform.
Fall of government is coming.
I think it's about reform from within, and people keeping, monitoring a lot of these issues tightly, and there being better education, about subjects like you're so graciously providing us with a lot of good information.
Us and our 5 viewers. Anything you want to say to our listeners before we go? You know what? We should end the show with your words of advice.
My words of advice.
Yeah.
Get to know her.
Hold on a second. It's going to be on the topic. Yeah, it's got to be on the topic. Go on. Hold on a second. And now it's time for Rob's words of advice. and things that he may have learned that he wants you to know too.
Are you serious?
Just kidding. But go ahead, yeah. Give some words of advice.
Well, if she's a girl that you think is worth it, then spend a little time, getting to know her.
Take your time.
And don't rush into anything, because you can get yourself in
slow.
trouble. There's a lot of ways to get yourself in trouble, in all of the above. And if you're ready to move forward, I can't believe I'm saying this.
It's great. I think that a lot of people are gonna
Bust out the ID or ask the parents.
Robert, the ID will not help you in these cases. It doesn't matter. It's a strict liability offense when it comes
ask
to
the
this.
parents then?
That would be an interesting approach. If anybody's listening to this and you've ever asked the parents and gotten consent to have sex with their daughter, send us an email. We'd love to hear from you.
We'd love to hear about it.
Right. Awesome. All right, Rob, thanks. And let's, until next time.
Thanks for having me on the show.
It's your show.
My show. I thought it was your show. That's the problem.